In a world where two dorks fall in love and then start a podcast 12 years later. I can never get that time right.
No, you can't.
How long have we been together?
It'll be 13 years in September.
Yes.
This is Ryan.
This is Ashley.
And this is
Ruining Our Childhood.
A weekly podcast where we remove our childhood goggles and put on our adult bifocals to rewatch and review our favorite movies from the past.
That is what this podcast is about. And if you're just joining us, hi.
Welcome.
Ashley, me.
Ryan, mi amo.
You were supposed to say, mi amo, Ryan. Okay.
No.
And today is a special super duper episode because we are celebrating our 20th episode. Don't sing anything too familiar.
Yeah, I was going to say
get
that.
sued.
We're going to be like, luckily this guy's tone deaf. We don't have to worry about saying he stole our music.
Oh, you're not tone deaf.
Yes, he is.
So, yes, we're going to do, instead of doing a movie today, we're going to be answering some questions that have been sent to us by friends of the podcast.
Yes.
And some random questions that we decided to answer for you because, yeah.
You should know your podcast hosts.
I think so. And, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was going to say there.
Because I would say over the last 19 episodes, everybody who's listened feels like we're their friend now, and now they can actually know a little bit more about us, other than sometimes we used to like really crappy movies.
Yes. But not all of the movies we love are crappy.
No, just some of them.
Yes.
So?
We have no structure for this. It's very weird.
Yeah.
We're very structured in... I would say we're very structured in our normal podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We do get off a little topic sometimes. I don't even know how to speak words.
We do. We always have a outline that we follow because we didn't want to be that podcast that every week it feels they're jumping around. There's no structure.
Or they never get to a point really.
Yeah. So I hope that's something people don't feel about our podcast.
But let us know if you feel like we suck. I want to know.
Yeah, we can take constructive criticism.
Yes. I also don't feel like you've truly made it as a podcaster or any sort of creative outlet until somebody tells you they hate you.
Yeah.
So.
We have not reached that point yet.
Yeah, people still like us, or they're just super duper polite.
That could be. Maybe it's a lot of Canadians listening.
So.
Let's get this ball rolling.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you don't know us, and this is the first episode you're listening to, we started this podcast to rewatch our movies that we loved and see if they hold up. Because the world has changed a lot since we were kids.
Yes.
And also, our standards as adults have changed.
Definitely.
Things that we thought were funny when we were 12 may not be funny now.
No. I would definitely say anything that I thought was funny when I was 12, there's a good chance I don't like it now.
I mean,
some
I think
stuff is timeless.
Yeah, I mean, like, we've proven just with this podcast that there's some movies that are funny no matter what.
Yeah.
Then there's ones that I can't believe I even like them because they're not great.
Yeah, there's some that are literal crap.
But we won't tell you which ones because we want you to listen.
Yeah, go back. We got 19 episodes.
Yeah.
There's like 19 hours of podcast to go listen to.
Probably a little more than that. Or actually about the same because I feel like the first couple episodes we had were kind of short.
Mm-hmm.
We tried to stay really on topic, and now that we've gotten a little bit more comfortable with talking, I think they've grown longer.
Yes, they have. Sorry. Sometimes we're a little long-winded.
Yes. So let's start off with a question from a friend of the podcast,
Alrighty. Sue.
Will you be doing any episodes on any Jim Carrey movies?
Well, I would say maybe you should keep your excitement for the next episode.
Really?
Yeah, because our next episode is going to be
Batman
Forever.
I totally forgot. I know early discussions of our podcast, we did talk about maybe watching Ace Ventura, because I know that's one of your favorite movies as a kid. But I think we've been putting it off because I think you're a little scared.
I'm a little scared about that one. And the other one that I would love to rewatch, because I haven't seen it in years, would be Dumb and Dumber.
You know which one I would love to rewatch because I really, really loved it as a kid was Liar Liar.
That's another good one.
Yeah.
I would say until about 2004, 2005, I would say I saw every one of his movies in theaters.
Yeah.
I'm still a big fan of his. I would like to watch his Showtime show.
Oh, yeah. I definitely want to see that.
But as a kid, my friends actually called me Ace. And to this day, I have a buddy of mine who still calls me Ace, and I'm in his phone as Ace.
Yeah.
So
is it Ace?
It is Ace. So I really enjoy his movies. I don't think he acts nearly as much as I wish he would.
Probably doesn't have to.
No, he doesn't need money.
I think once you become a certain level of star, you're just like, I don't really have to work. You don't have to work as hard.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure there's plenty of actors out there that are like, no, you have to always keep making moves. Otherwise, you may end up being not on top anymore.
Yeah.
Which I guess it happens. The world is a fickle place.
We go through waves as a society. I mean, people that were popular in the 80s and 90s, a lot of those people are not popular.
I'm going to open this beer real quick.
All right.
I'm going to do it right next to the microphone.
There you go. Hashtag Michelob Ultra time.
We really like other beers, but...
Fun fact about us, we are keto.
Yeah, we're living that low-carb life.
So, this is what we get to drink.
Low-carb life. I'll stop talking. Ow, I just hit my tooth. First beer of the day.
You're a nerd.
Yep. Oh, so, let's move on to our next question.
Okay.
So, we answered that. Yes. We
will be doing Jim Carrey films.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
And we kind of already have, because we have recorded the next episode already. Mm-hmm. So, the next question is from Jason, who I think we've mentioned before in this podcast.
Good friend of the podcast, Jason.
Yes. What's your all-time favorite movie? And I hate this question, Jason. I hate this question.
Ooh.
Because I can't just pick one movie, man. Mm-hmm. I need to pick by genre, and I think that's what makes me a nerd. But I'll still try to answer it.
I think, for me, my all-time favorite, if I had to go to a desert island with one movie and I could only watch that one movie the rest of my life, I think it's Aladdin. The original animated feature. I think it's Aladdin. Okay. How about you?
I'm going to have to go with Back to the Future.
Okay.
It's not really a hard question. I'm just giving you crap, Jason. Mm-hmm. I know it's Back to the Future, and I don't even have to explain it because everybody loves Back to the Future, right?
I would think so.
I love time travel movies, and I've always wanted to time travel.
I think that's one of those movie elements that when you watch it, you go, I really wish I could do that.
Yes. I've always had a fascination with history, and I think being able to relive history or even be in that moment, I think is really fascinating, and that's what got me interested in the movie the first time I saw it. When I was a kid, I watched it on TV, because when it came out, I was 0 years old. I was negative 2.
Yeah, I was 1.
So, Rupert.
Yeah.
Rupert's jealous right now.
He is barking up a storm.
Official dog of the podcast. Jealous that we're...
Because nobody submitted any questions for him.
Yeah. So, rude.
It's a shame.
And if you're wondering, I didn't know we were supposed to submit questions, you should have listened to the last couple episodes. We did ask everybody to submit questions. Mm-hmm. We did get quite a few, but, we could have gotten more.
Yeah.
Step it up, people. What are you doing with your life?
And maybe we'll do another Q&A episode down the road, so maybe we won't even get to all the ones that we have today.
We will. No, just kidding. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe this will just be a train wreck and we won't even air this episode because it's just two crazy people talking a lot. Yeah, so Aladdin, Back to the Future, and honestly, if I could sit here for another half an hour, I could probably pick a movie from each genre.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's how I sort everything in my life.
No, I agree.
Should we move on to the next question?
Yes, we shall.
Brian.
Good friend of the podcast, Brian.
Asked, who's the best director of our generation?
Ooh.
This one's hard.
It's hard, but If I'm picking a director, I would go with Quentin Tarantino. And the reason I would go with Quentin Tarantino is because he has a very unique style. Whereas I think there's other directors that are just as good as him, whether it be Steven Spielberg or who else ever. Guy Ritchie makes good movies. But I would say his movies, when I go to a movie and I see a trailer, and it'll be advertising, Quentin Tarantino's next movie, I'm more likely to go, I would like to go see that Tarantino movie.
He doesn't make a ton of movies in the sense where it's like oversaturated.
No.
And you're right. And he also, I mean, it helps that he does write them too, because I think that helps create a unique style. Where there's directors that they're just directing. And I'm sure I've never really paid attention to directing styles. That's never been exactly the reason why I like movies. I pay attention more to the writing. Because I consider myself a writer, and more to the acting and the character development. And I know directors have a lot of say in that stuff, I'm assuming, but I've never really paid attention to it.
The only other one that I would go with where I think of their style and I say there's a uniqueness to the way the movie's shot and, the setups to everything would be Aaron Sorkin. And I know people knock him as for that style where it's the people are walking and talking.
Walking and talking.
But at the same time, that's his style.
Yeah.
You can associate literally that shot with him.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that's something, I guess, if I'm thinking about it more, like Christopher Nolan is another, I think, is probably one of my favorites of our generation. I mean, all the movies he's made in the last decade has
been really good.
Yeah. And we kind of talked about this because we watched Romeo and Juliet, but Baz Luhrmann, I've always loved Baz Luhrmann's style.
Yeah.
It's unique.
It's unique to him.
It's specific. Moulin Rouge has always been one of my favorite movies. Definitely not one that we would do for this podcast because I've seen it so many times that I don't think I could give it a fair criticism. And that's something I did want to address because people do suggest movies all the time for us. And there's just certain movies I would not rewatch.
Yeah.
Because we either watch them on a yearly basis.
Harry Potter,
Goonies, Back to the Future,
Home Alone.
Sandlot is one of them. I probably haven't seen in a couple years, but I've seen it enough to know that to me it holds up.
Yeah.
It's one of those things we could probably rewatch it with like a critical eye. But there's ones that I feel like are a little sacred to where I don't even know if I'd want to do that,
Yeah. I don't want to ruin it for me.
Yeah. Let's move on to our next question from listener and friend of the pod, Alicia. Asked, what's your favorite snack or drink or toy of your childhood that today's kids don't know about?
Ooh. Okay. That's I would say it's hard because a lot of the toys that I played with as kids have come back around.
That's true.
They make Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm a big pro wrestling guy. They still make WWF figures, and they've even released a retro line where it's literally the same exact figures that I played with.
Right.
But one of the toys that I loved as a kid that it actually was in a movie was the Talk Boy from Home Alone 2.
I never had that.
I had that. I played with it all the time. They maybe have re-released it over the years, but I don't know that an average kid would know what it is if you handed it to them.
That's true. I have a similar toy in mind, too, actually, that kind of go along the lines. I had a Dear Diary, and if you don't remember that, it was basically, I don't even know, like a tiny little laptop or a pocket translator / calculator. I think essentially it was made so you could type in your entries, but it was really hard to do that. I literally would just play music on it because I had the Dear Diary Deluxe.
Ooh.
And you could literally play music on it.
You just Ashley's over here doing the one finger type motion.
It was so small. That's all you could do. And I remember you could send messages to your friends if they had it. It was basically the earliest form of text messaging that I knew about. I want to say my school bus had one, and you could send messages to them.
Oh, that's
back and forth.
Really cool then.
Yeah. And then the other one I immediately thought of when I read this question was Dream Phone.
Oh, okay.
My favorite board game as a kid. I recently went and visited my family and a couple of my friends from high school, and me and my friend Cassie were talking about Dream Phone because we played it probably a little too late.
You were playing it in high school?
Yeah, and I remember my brother and his best friend coming home, and we were so embarrassed that we were playing it. We just, like, tossed it to the side, like, of the dining room table, like, in the corner, and, like, hit it. I don't know if there was a towel or something, but we hit it, and we're just like, do-do-do, like, pretending like we weren't just playing Dream Phone. But that was my favorite because it was, like, a little bit of mystery. You had to try to solve and use your power of deduction to figure out who your crush was. And then there was a cool phone, and you just use it to... Yeah. It was amazing.
I'm sitting here thinking, there's so many of the toys that I played with that they've come back around.
Yeah, I think, like, figures and all that stuff, I just think that, for your example of the Talk Boy, and I don't know if there would be anything like that anymore because kids just have cell phones now.
They have a cell phone they can record stuff into.
They can play apps
manipulate.
On. Rupert just really wants to get in this episode. Yeah. If you can't hear him, he's just barking up a storm now.
He's very needy. I was thinking of a board game when you brought up that. I was thinking of 1313 Dead End Drive.
I vaguely remember that. It sounds familiar.
Almost like a murder mystery board game. And that one I really liked.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of board games that probably came out in the 90s that don't exist anymore. Like Don't Wake Dad or something. I never have played that, but I remember the commercials because they were so overly cheesy.
So cheesy.
My cousin always had all of the board games. It was just like a closet full.
We had a ton. We definitely were not lacking in the board game
We
department.
had a bunch of classic ones, but for the hip, cool 90s ones, like Pretty Pretty Princess and stuff, like I didn't have that.
No.
Other than Dream Phone. That was the number one. Was there any snacks?
I'm sitting here, it's hard because I don't snack much anymore.
That's true.
So I don't know what's still available.
We're like so healthy.
One that I thought of that I don't know if it's still available, but I loved as a child was Gushers.
Yes, they exist.
They still exist. Okay, well.
But I think now, for the most part, a lot of people are aware of the type of processed food that they're putting in their kids' bodies.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I think our parents didn't really know better. It was like, oh, we're trying to eat healthy. Let's eat Snackwell's cookies. Like, those are good for you.
It's good for you.
I'm on a diet. I'm going to eat these Snackwell cookies that still taste delicious because they have a bunch of sugar in them.
One of the ones that it almost went away for a hot minute, it did go away because the company had issues, was Hostess. Went away for a real hot minute. And I was like, we're getting rid of Twinkies? Yeah. Saddest day of my life.
Yeah.
Luckily, they came back around.
And you don't eat Twinkies at all.
No,
even when we weren't even trying to eat healthier.
It was my big snack if I was going to grab something at a gas station. It was always a Twinkie or a Ho-Ho.
So I will say, I could probably talk about snacks. We should just start a snack podcast.
Snack podcast.
I will say in junior...
With Ryan and Ashley.
In junior high, we had a vending machine on the high school side. I went to a K through 12 school, so it's an experience.
Big up to Montana.
Yeah, if you've ever been to a K through 12 school, then definitely you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so there was this one vending machine, and every lunch I would go downstairs to the vending machine and get Shock Tarts.
Ooh.
At the time, I think they changed their name to Shockers, but they used to be called Shock Tarts, or the other way around. I can't remember.
That sounds right.
But I was obsessed with those things, and I would always buy them right before lunch was over, and then I'd have to go to 8th grade algebra class, and I'd be sitting there. They would be in my pocket, and I'd be like trying to
Shock Tarts.
Yeah, but then they're super sour, so of course I made the sour base. It was not Sly.
You know which one that I just thought of that I loved when I was like an early teen? Fruitopia.
Yes, I was going to talk about that because that does not exist anymore. No. I'm pretty sure. I would love to see the sugar content.
It's the leading cause of diabetes amongst 30-year-olds.
Oh my God,
they drank way too much Fruitopia as a child. It was so good, but I do think there was like 70 grams of sugar.
I would hope so because even the name brings back how sweet that shit was.
Yeah. I probably, I can account for 40 cavities in my mouth directly associated with Fruitopia, but man, was it good.
Yes. Let us know if there's a snack or you agree with any of our... Let us know on our Facebook page or Instagram.
And you know what I love? I love toys. Please, if there's a toy you can think of that was awesome, throw it in there.
Yeah, and if you're from our generation, you know, born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s.
Damn straight.
And early 2000s. Should we move on to our next question?
Awesome question, Alicia. Thank you for the trip down memory road.
Not lane. Road.
Memory road. Just like Abbey Road, The Road, Road to Perdition, and Revolutionary Road. All movies with the word road.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Okay. Our friend Daniel sent us a couple questions.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is, why does Kristen Stewart keep getting jobs?
Oh my god. I have no idea. She has the charisma of a wet potato sack.
I will say, I try to give her credit because I haven't seen all of her movies.
No.
I have heard she has done good in certain movies.
Some might even say she did well in certain movies.
Nope, just good. Anyway, I didn't mind her in The Runaways. I only saw that movie once.
That was okay. Jett. Yeah, it was okay.
But I will say, more recently watching the preview for Charlie's Angels, in the very beginning, she's punching a guy in the face and she's yelling to him. And I can't help but hear Bella's voice.
Yeah.
And there's a scene in one of the Twilight movies where she's yelling. I think it's it's the last movie, she's yelling at Jacob because she found out that he had imprinted on her child. And her anger was just not that great, the acting. And that's what it reminded me of. So I feel bad because I can't not help but think about that she was just Bella yelling.
Those movies, those Twilight movies, I'm sorry, are such a guilty pleasure of mine. But specifically, watch them with the riff tracks.
And if you don't know what riff tracks are, they're made by the guys that used to work with Mystery Science Theater.
Yes.
They did the voices of Crow and
Tom
Servo, and then Mike Nelson, who was the lead after the original creator left.
And they just make fun of the movie.
Yeah, it's basically Mystery Science Theater, but you just play it at the same time.
And it's really easy to do now with like an Alexa.
Yes.
And those things. It makes those movies so enjoyable. I could watch Twilight with the riff track once a year and really enjoy it.
It's definitely a guilty pleasure, and I think it's another movie that I would love to do for this podcast. It doesn't quite fit our criteria of the 10-year.
I think the first one would.
Yeah, that's true. It's been like 11. But I think I've watched them so much over the years because it is a guilty pleasure for me as well. That
I think I would end up actually plagiarizing riff tracks.
Oh, yeah.
Making the jokes because when I watch them, I think of the jokes. Yeah. I would say everybody in those movies, with the exception of Anna Kendrick, I don't know how they still get work.
Robert Pattinson's not a bad actor.
He's
been in a lot of things.
I can only say I've only seen him in the Twilight movies.
I think he's trying his best to remove himself from that.
And I have kept an open mind to him being Batman.
Yeah, and I honestly really can see him going down the line of Leonardo DiCaprio.
Boy, that's a stretch.
You can't judge if you've never seen any of his
Leonardo DiCaprio has given us 20 great years of film. And you're comparing a guy who you say he's been in good movies. Have we seen any of them?
No, because...
Ooh, no, we haven't.
Because I honestly think if they would have came out 10 years ago, we probably would have, when we were watching movies way more. And now we've kind of lessened how many new movies we watch. Yeah. We literally only go to the movies once every couple weeks. Whereas when we first started dating, we went to the movies
every week. That's true.
And we'd even watch stuff that we had no desire to watch, but we just wanted to go to the movies. Yeah. Because going to the movies is a fun experience.
I have heard his last movie was a good movie.
And he's doing another independent film with somebody else.
Like I said, I'll keep an open mind to him being
judge.
Batman.
And, somebody 20-something years ago said that Leonardo DiCaprio from Titanic is a heartthrob that is going to have no career in 5 years.
That was probably me.
You were like 12.
I'll keep an open mind to Batman, but I swear to God, if they cast Taylor Lautner as the Riddler, I'll find the director and stab him.
Is the director a 12-year-old girl from 2008? I think
know.
we'll be safe.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, let's move on. Thanks for that question. Daniel also wrote, why do they feel the need to remake any movie? And is there any movies that we hate the remake of? I might be melding some questions here.
I don't know of any that I hated. I saw the Ghostbusters remake, and it really wasn't a remake. It was almost a reboot of taking it in a different direction. I can't think of any that I hated. The only ones I sit here and I go, I don't know why they keep doing a live action. I don't know why Disney feels a need to make a live action of every one of their movies.
I agree.
Other than it's a cash grab.
It is.
They're taking a movie that has a massive built-in audience and making a movie knowing it's going to make $1 billion.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've enjoyed the ones that I've seen. I liked Beauty and the Beast. I actually enjoyed the Aladdin one, which I was really worried about. And I'd like to see The Lion King, but I don't understand other than it has a built-in audience, so it'll make me money.
I think when they remake movies, I would hope that they think that they are going to improve on them. Mm-hmm. I've always been, and I've said this numerous times, I don't know if I've said it on this podcast, but I've said it just in life, that I don't get butthurt when they remake things. If you love something enough, then it shouldn't matter if they remake it and it does terrible. To me, it's not going to ruin the original.
No.
When they did that whole Dirty Dancing thing on TV with like Abigail Breslin, I didn't even watch it because I was like, it's fucking Dirty Dancing. You can't touch that. Mm-hmm. But I didn't get butthurt, and does anybody actually remember that remake? That's the other thing.
No.
Or when people were freaking out about Ghostbusters. Yes, it would be nice if they remade a Ghostbusters with the original cast.
Yes.
Or played upon it, which I think they are going to now, right, with Paul Rudd. But it didn't affect the original for you.
It didn't make me think any less of the original movie. And that's how I feel about any remake. I never saw the Ocean's 11, the original.
Right.
But I can't imagine it was better than the remake with Brad Pitt and
no, because
George Clooney.
we've said several times that our standards in movies gotten better with the technology. And there's times where I watch a really old movie and there's weird edits, or they just end a scene abruptly and they don't explain things. And I think that's the only thing that drives me insane about watching some older movies. Like, I'm talking older than the 1980s. So I think, like, the technology and more modern things that they have done with movies does improve things.
Yeah.
And then I don't even know where I'm going with this. But, I don't know. Just don't let shit bother you.
No.
Much with the remakes.
Take them for what they are. And in a lot of cases, it's a way to go revisit, whether it's a setting that you really enjoyed as a kid. Like I love Harry Potter, and I love Hogwarts, and Fantastic Beasts is a nice way to go revisit those places that I really enjoyed, and it's another way of going around it.
Like Star Wars, there's such a vast world.
Yeah. Some are
that people just want to explore more of.
And some of them are really good, and some of them aren't so great, but
I will say,
they're enjoyable.
Like, the last Fantastic Beasts was not the best.
No.
But it was still, I don't know, it was still that world, so I still liked it.
Yeah, same.
I'm not picky when it comes.
No.
But, I mean, I am picky with some things, but it's just with remakes, I just know if they ever remade The Goonies, I'll watch it, but it's not gonna, if it sucks, it's not gonna take away
It'll just make me go watch the original again.
And they're remaking one of my favorite movies of all time, West Side Story.
Yes.
And I'm actually really excited for it because I think
it's in good hands. Steven Spielberg's
and I think
gonna
musicals, to me, because there's even people that bitch about when they do the live musicals on network television, and I'm just thinking, they do Broadway plays all the time. That's not a remake. That's just what Broadway plays are meant to be performed over and over again.
Yeah.
So that's not any different to me, having a live action on NBC. That's just making plays more accessible to people.
Agreed.
Because there's a lot of work that goes into it. So, I don't know. That's just my take on it.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we want to talk to you a little bit about the Podcoin app.
Yes! The Podcoin app. It pays you to listen to Ruining Our Childhood, as well as your other favorite podcasts. You can use the Podcoin you earn to claim gift cards for some of your favorite stores.
What? Starbucks?
Check.
Amazon?
Correct.
Target. Seriously, guys, this is pretty legit. Join the Podcoin app today on iPhone or Android, and I said join, but I meant download.
You've got to download
and
it.
use code RUINING to get 300 Podcoin just for signing up.
That's 300 Podcoin for using RUINING.
That's how you spell ruining, just in case you don't know that.
Yes.
So if you're basically listening to podcasts all day anyways while you're working or driving or doing anything, might as well make some money off the deal. Am I right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, free coffee for something you're already doing sounds fantastic.
It does sound fantastic.
Take a shot.
So go give the Podcoin app a try today. And also don't forget to listen to Ruining Our Childhood and make some money, guys.
Okay.
Bye. Should we move on?
Yes.
The next question is, and this kind of goes with your favorite movie, but there might be a different one. What is a movie that you can stop and watch if it's on TV no matter what, or just some movie that you can watch a number of times?
Just pick it up right where it's playing. For me, it's Goonies. If Goonies is on TV, I don't care if it's 30 minutes into it, I miss the beginning, I'll stop and watch it. The other one is, and I miss these days, when Freeform would do Harry Potter weekends.
Yeah.
I can flip that on. It's in the middle of a movie. I've seen them enough times. I can just pick it up right where it's at and enjoy it.
Yeah.
So those are definitely my 2/9.
I would say definitely Harry Potter. Another one that I didn't really think about it until just it popped in my head was 13 Going on 30. I love that movie.
Oh.
Because, again, it goes with that whole kind of time travel, magical kind of what-if scenario that I've always loved.
Yeah.
So, definitely one of those movies I've seen 1,000 times. Could rewatch it. I mean, Mark Ruffalo, first of all. Amazing.
He's amazing.
He's amazing. You know what I'm talking about, people that like Mark Ruffalo. Anyway, do you want to ask a question? Or
Sure. This question is from William. Any franchises or fandoms that you are not a fan of?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I got one.
Okay, go ahead.
I do not see the appeal of the Fast and the Furious movies.
Yeah.
I like Dwayne Johnson a lot. He is easily one of my favorite actors and just people in Hollywood. Because I've been a fan of his since he was a pro wrestler. But, dude, at some point, stop making movies in this franchise. Other than, it's going to make a lot of money. So here it is again.
For sure. I mean, you could say that about every franchise. Star Wars. I don't know if I have one. I'm trying to think. Because I'm a huge fan of Harry Potter, obviously. I can't even think of what are movies. What's going on? What are we doing?
What are movies? Where am I?
I'm trying to think of another fandom. There's got to be some fandom that I'm just not a huge nerd about, because you can't be a nerd about everything, I guess.
No.
I try to
think
be.
of.
Yeah,
it's hard to think of, but that's.
I've never been a huge Star Trek fan.
Okay.
My brother watched it a lot. And I'll tell you a story.
Daniel just turned the podcast off.
Sorry, Daniel. So, my hatred for Star Trek happened when my brother recorded over a home movie of me as a child because he wanted to record an episode of Star Trek, The Next Generation.
And to that I say, he made the right decision.
But now I don't have that home movie of me performing for my parents. It was kindergarten. We were performing a Christmas pageant.
Okay.
And there's this really funny part where I'm nudging the kid next to me because I didn't think he had
the right amount of pep.
No. I I was a natural performer when I was a child, and he was not enthusiastic, and I kept nudging him to get his act together. Ooh. And that's a hilarious movie that I'll never get back. All I have it is in my head.
The other ones that I was thinking of, it's not so much a fandom, but there's been a lot of sequels to, or a lot of the horror franchises.
Yeah.
Like, okay, Saw, stop making sequels.
I like horror movies. Mm-hmm. The first Saw was interesting in the sense that I did not solve the ending. And I'm usually pretty good about solving it.
You are very good at them.
But to be fair and to credit myself, you kind of discount the guy that's dead in the middle of the floor. Spoiler alert, you know?
Yeah, touche.
But I don't like a lot of blood. Mm-hmm. I don't like gore for the sake of gore. To me, there's no reason. I would rather be scared from something really simple and unique versus just a bunch of blood. That being said, I love Quentin Tarantino, and I think what he does is amazing, but...
Yeah. But I remember we tried to watch the Rob Zombie... Halloween.
And I had to turn it off.
We turned it off after about 10 minutes. And I like Rob Zombie a lot. I like his music, and I just could not get into that movie.
I can't do anything with, like... I think I remember specifically there was something about the fingernails.
Yeah.
And I can't... No, that's gross. I can't see anybody's fingernails being removed, or... I'm pretty sure there's a scene in Black Swan that was kind of like that, and I was like...
Yes.
It just makes me want to throw up. I'm going to throw up right now.
This is my nightmare. Ready to move on to the next question?
Yes.
Our next question comes from Sandy, and she wrote a great one. Besides Nicolas Cage, name an actor you do not like. And I want to go on record as saying we gave Nicolas Cage an award, and that's because I do like Nicolas Cage. I have not seen really anything he's done in about 10 years because I'm sure it's all crap. But he has made good movies.
Yeah.
It was going to be funny to make that joke about.
Obviously, we've done Gone in 60 Seconds, so we've done one of his movies.
Yeah.
He just has this thing about him that I find a little cheesy.
Yeah.
And
very cheesy.
When he screams.
Yep.
Or he has to show any sort of emotion. But I think he actually is good at delivering kind of comedic lines. Mm-hmm. He can come off as kind of like a sarcastic jerk, and I do like that about him.
Yes.
But, I mean, it's kind of just a joke because if you've ever seen, like, Community, there's that episode in the later seasons where they take a Nicolas Cage class, and the teacher's like, don't watch more than, like, 3 movies at a time because you'll go full Nicolas Cage. And then Abed just goes crazy and...
just loses his mind.
Just starts screaming like Nicolas Cage.
I actually thought of somebody who I'm not a fan of, and I think there's a lot of people that like her. I've seen a couple things of hers that I have enjoyed. Mm-hmm. But for me, it would be Sarah Jessica Parker.
Okay.
And a lot of it has to do with, as I've heard people that she's worked with say what a, pretentious jerk she is on set. Specifically, Matthew McConaughey.
Which you think is probably like one of the nicest people in the world.
Yeah. You don't hear people badmouth him, but he said like what an unenjoyable experience it was to work with her. And I want to say Hugh Grant said very similar things about her.
Yeah.
Or at least for me, makes me not interested in being a fan of their work or going out of my way to watch anything they make.
That's true.
One thing of hers that I can think of that I'm a fan of is Hocus Pocus.
Yes.
Another movie we'll never review.
Spice Club.
Yeah. Just not a fan of hers.
Her earlier work, probably because she wasn't the lead, she was part of an ensemble or she had a smaller part. Mm-hmm. I didn't mind her. And maybe, I think you can see that through the acting when somebody is not very genuine, or you could tell they're probably not a nice person. Mm-hmm. But, for all we know, she's really nice. She just didn't go. People just don't get along,
Yeah.
But that's not a bad one. I don't know if I can think of anyone.
The other one I'm just not a big fan of his, and it's nothing against him as a person, is Vin Diesel.
I would have said that until he was Groot.
I love him as Groot.
I mean, it doesn't take that much to be Groot, but yeah, still.
I don't mind him as Groot.
I'm trying to think of somebody only person I can think of right now, even though she hasn't been in tons of movies lately, is Vanessa Hudgens.
Which I don't understand your hatred of her.
I don't know. I
think she's, everything I've ever seen her in, she's fine.
I guess.
I don't have anything against her. Go ahead.
I think there was a time right after like the high school musicals came out that she started getting some bigger roles, and I just didn't think she was that great. And it might have something to do with the movies that were chosen, like Beastly.
Yeah.
That was a stupid movie, right?
Not a good choice.
Apparently a good book, whatever. But the movie wasn't great. I honestly can't even think of any other movie she was in.
The other one that just kind of popped on my head, it was a person that was huge when we were growing up and is not relevant at all at this point, is Meg Ryan.
Yeah.
I don't know that she probably still acts. I can't think of anything she's done in the last few years.
She's Meg Ryan. She doesn't need to act. Ryan.
Well,
just kidding.
I was never a fan of hers. I liked her movies where I did like When Harry Met Sally. A lot of that has to do with, I liked both of them. It's not going to just, I just like Billy Crystal, but she was one I don't know. I didn't go out of my way to watch her movies, but I think also as I was a little maybe too young.
Yeah.
And then as I've gotten older and was really big into cinema is when maybe she took a step back from cinema.
There's probably way more I could think of. It's just, I try not to hate on people, but there's probably people I just avoid, or sometimes I'll be looking at a movie on Netflix and I'll be like, oh, that person's in it? Yeah, I'm not going to watch.
Next question?
Sure.
All right. This question comes from Gregorius. He would like to know what our favorite sports movie is.
Ooh. I would say overall, you go ahead and answer. I'm going to think about this for a second.
Ooh. I think the movie that I enjoy the story the most, and I probably could rewatch it again, is Miracle.
Okay.
Because it was the story of, it's probably the greatest sports upset ever.
Right.
It was the U.S. men's hockey team beating the Soviet Union in 1980. I loved the fact that they kind of told the whole story that the U.S. and Soviet Union played in Madison Square Garden like a week before the Olympics, and the Soviet Union kicked the ever-loving crap out of the U.S., so nobody thought they had a shot. They lost like 10-3.
Yeah.
So then the fact that they went on and beat them and then go on to win the gold medal is like, it's probably like just one of the best sports stories you could tell.
I think I've only seen part of that movie.
Oh. Well, we own it. We can watch it one day.
Yay.
Yay.
I would say childhood movie, definitely Mighty Ducks.
Oh, that's a great
Or
one.
Sandlot. It's a toss-up. I remember really loving Remember the Titans at the time that it came out. I had rewatched it a lot. When I was in high school, the football team would always watch it when we had to travel.
Yeah.
Because I was a football manager. And whenever we have to travel more than an hour, they would put that movie on. I'm pretty sure I read something about how, obviously, in real life, the coach was not as inspiring. He was a little scary and almost verbally abusive at times.
Every football coach.
Well, yeah. But I still love that movie. I would love to rewatch that movie for this podcast because I haven't seen it in a while.
Been years for me.
And, I think it would be a good candidate. That I would say Mighty Ducks, though.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Another good question from Greg is, what is a movie that you have walked out of?
Have we walked out of a movie? Oh, technically, I was feeling sick.
Yes. And we left Babel.
Never finished it.
Never finished it, never rented it, never
was not feeling very well, and there's a scene where they were in a club and there's a lot of bright lights and I thought I was going to die.
That was with one Bradley Pitt.
Yeah, there was a bunch of people. I think Kate Blanchett
was
in it. It was one of those like
kind of an
ensemble multi-story thing going on, which I do like, but
for me, the one I can think of is Pootie Tang.
Oh, I remember you telling me that.
Yes.
I don't think I saw that.
Which I think came out in 2001.
Super, yeah.
And it was when Chris Rock was really on top of the world. And I really enjoyed a lot of things he was doing at the time. And I'm kind of at that point, I don't like anything he does now. I'm not a fan of his stand-up. He's very, in my opinion, kind of racist. But that movie was so bad, after about 40 minutes, me and my brother got up, went down to the box office, and asked for our money back. And they gave our money back. There was also another couple that had left right after us and did the same exact thing. Damn. It was such a stupid movie. And all the guy did was say, "What-a-ta."
I rented it. I watched the whole thing. So,
fun fact, Kristen Bell's in it. I think it's her first movie role.
She's one of our favorite actresses.
I love Kristen Bell. I would not watch that movie if you paid me. It was so bad.
Yeah, I think that was the only... I've never really walked out of a movie. I remember us seeing Epic Movie.
Yeah, I could have walked out of that.
Yeah.
It wasn't good.
It was not good. It was definitely during the time where they were like, hey, Scary Movie was successful 5 years ago.
This.
I think the problem with a lot of those movies that came after Scary Movie kind of had that satire resurgence, they just put a bunch of references in. It just wasn't funny. It was just...
And you think about those movies, Scary Movie was a starting point for people's careers.
Yeah.
Anna Faris is a big name in Hollywood to this day, started in those. I can't think of anybody that's in Epic Movie that got their start. I know Daryl Hammond was in it.
I think Kal Penn was in it too, but it wasn't his start. It was after
Yeah.
Harold Kumar. But I'm just thinking, at least I can name somebody that was in that movie.
Nobody in those movies are famous.
There was around that time, like, Date Movie came out, which I vaguely remember watching.
What?
Another teen movie, which
I
remember watching and liking.
The movie Date Movie, I was thinking, isn't that the one with... Oh, no, that's Date Night. Is it Date Night one... with Steve Carell? And
yeah, no, there's
Tina
a Date
Fey?
Movie, and I want to say Allison Hannigan's in it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I saw it once.
Sounds awful.
But it's just people trying to capitalize on the success of one type of movie, but they just didn't do it well.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Scary Movie might be one of those movies that does not age well either.
Yeah, that'd be a good one to maybe do a rewatch on.
Yeah. We're just going to name all the movies we're going to probably do.
Are you ready for another question?
Sure.
This one is from Karen. What are your favorite podcasts?
Ooh.
Obviously, other than ruining your childhood.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or ruining our childhood. I just can't my own podcast name right.
I'm pretty sure there is another podcast called Ruining Your Childhood or Let's Ruin Your Childhood or something. There's a lot of podcasts like ours. I'm not going to say you should listen to them. They do different movies than us, but I like to think we're pretty good.
Ours is the best.
I'm not going to say that.
I'll say it.
You're going to say that, and somebody's going to write us and be like,
hey, I listened to this.
Let me tell you all the reasons why yours sucks. But then it'd make me feel like we were doing something right because we angered somebody at some point. Anyway, podcasts. I love My Favorite Murder. I've mentioned it before. Karen and George are hilarious.
Yes.
I also listen to Unqualified with Anna Faris. Just started more recently listening to Armchair Expert.
Yes.
Which is hilarious. I love listening to celebrities talk about their lives.
Yeah.
And both those podcasts kind of focus on that. And also Anna Faris is funny because they give advice. Which I love a celebrity to give me life advice.
Yeah.
Not so much relationship advice because I'm kind of killing it.
Winning.
But what are some of yours?
You mentioned two of them. I listen to Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard. Really enjoy that one. And obviously My Favorite Murder. The other ones I really listen to a lot. Helps get through my day of work. I love Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson, which is a pro wrestling podcast. And then Conrad does a couple other ones with some wrestling personalities that were Tony Schiavone, who was a wrestling commentator from when I was a little kid, and Eric Bischoff. And those podcasts are kind of like going back and talking about old wrestling shows from when I was a child. So it helps me revisit stuff from my childhood that I really enjoyed. So those are mine.
Yeah. For a while, I was listening to some fictional ones when I was commuting more. The Black Tapes.
Yeah, I remember
that one. And one of the reasons I want to do this podcast was because I do love podcasts.
Yeah.
And I think it's nice to just be able to listen to somebody, especially if you're commuting. It makes your time so much shorter.
It really helps the drive fly.
Or it makes it feel
a
lot shorter if you have to be stuck in traffic. And if you choose to listen to us, then
thank you.
Thank you for your time and whatever.
Is there any other questions you want to do?
No. If there's anything else we have not answered, or if there's anything that you want to know about us, shoot us a message or go to our Facebook and
go to our Facebook at Ruining Our Childhood.
Yeah.
And then also Instagram. Yeah, if you have a suggestion on a movie that you'd like to see us do, or like the question that spawned a great conversation about toys and snacks, anything, just throw it on there. We'll answer them. We like to interact with people.
And we're also, just to let you guys know, we are thinking about starting a Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
And if you would be interested in participating in it,
mm-hmm.
or donating to our Patreon,
yeah,
like what kind of things would you like to see as benefits
mm-hmm.
for donating? We're open to suggestions. And if it doesn't sound like a good idea because we suck, then also let us know.
Yeah. We're thinking about making some t-shirts, if that's something people would buy, or bumper stickers, something to help get our word out.
Yeah.
So that'd be good.
So, yeah. Thank you so much for participating. Anybody that sent us questions.
Yes.
We appreciate that you listen, and you made us, what, number...
We peaked at number 21.
On the Podcoin weekly leaderboard, and...
That is far and away. A couple weeks ago, we hit 250.
I was excited.
I was over the moon at that, and then we got up to like 170.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere this week, 21. So, holy crap. Thank you, everyone who's listening.
Yes, we really super appreciate it. And hit us up. Let us know what you want to hear, and we'll probably do it because we want you to like us.
Yeah, we very much want your admiration.
Please like us.
And your approval.
Thanks for listening, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And next week...
Batman.
We'll be back at it with a wonderful movie. And, have a nice day, guys.
Bye.
Bye.